Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, the funny thing is, I didn't even realize that I didn't watch last week's episode until I started watching this week's episode, and I was like, previously on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I'm like, oh yeah. But for some reason, I didn't feel like going back and watching last week's episode. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is it interesting? Was it interesting? Would it be worth it? I mean, what really happened? The only thing really was the whole Brooks and Jen thing. So maybe I'll go back to see how that sort of worked out. But I'm assuming everything is fine, right? I may watch that back because I want to know what happened with that. But anything else, I mean, Whitney and Lisa, them working it out is like not really a big deal to me because they didn't really have any beef in my eye. At least anything that we saw on camera, maybe behind the scenes. So yeah, let's just go on to this week's episode, okay? With this week's review, let's just do this thing. Okay, let's talk about Lisa and Whitney. So I don't know, and maybe this is part of the reason I was sort of turned off by Salt Lake City. I know this is very petty and random, but the whole thing with Lisa and her friend and this event and the caterers canceling and then them saying, oh, Lisa wanted us to cancel. I don't know, this whole thing just seems fake to me. I'm not buying it. And it was just really weird when Lisa invited Whitney to the restaurant, and then the owners come and they bring up, oh, yeah, we couldn't cater her event because we can't leave on a Friday. We have to stay at the restaurant on Fridays, which, okay, would make sense. I guess Friday is a popular night for restaurants, so I understand you wouldn't want to close down to cater someone else's event. I get that. But when you are planning an event, right, and this is for charity, didn't they get like $1 million donation? So this is a big charitable event. Okay, maybe it's not a big charitable event, but it's an event. And events are usually planned ahead. They're not usually spontaneous, especially when you're hiring a caterer. I'm assuming you would tell them, hey, the event is going to be at this date. Can you do it? Yes or no? And if you are a business, you would go to the calendar, right, or your schedule, and you would look, and it would say, this is a Friday, and you would be like, you know what, we cannot do Friday, right? You wouldn't say the day before the event is supposed to happen, oh, sorry, we can't do it because it's a Friday. That doesn't even make sense. That's not even professional, and it doesn't make sense. This whole weird storyline doesn't make sense to me. That's why I feel like they're all involved. Now, I don't know if Whitney is involved. I kind of thought Whitney could be involved, but the way Whitney kind of went off on the restaurant owners changed my mind a little bit. And I'm glad Whitney did go off because it's absolutely ridiculous. You expect us to believe that bull crap, right? Now, I wish Whitney would have kind of, saved it a little bit because I wanted to hear the full explanation just so we can get the lie out fully. But whatever. I mean, it's just so stupid at this point. I never want to hear about this caterer thing again. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. If Lisa would do something like that, she's a pretty shady person. I need to see this text messages. I need to see some sort of receipt. But whatever, they decided that they're going to move forward and they're going to be friends. I don't know how that's going to work. But we'll see, okay? We'll see about that. I mean, I like Lisa and I like Whitney. Lisa, I don't know. She's clearly very fake, but let's just move on. Mary. Mary and her husband. I like that Mary is being honest with her feelings towards her husband, even though it's very what's that word? Jawing? Yeah, I think the word is jawing. It's very like, oh my gosh, you're talking about your husband like this on national television? And this is only like your second season. It's not like you're 10 season in and you're already like done with your husband. Okay, that sounds kind of silly. Obviously, their marriage extends beyond reality television and what they've been married for 20 years. Am I surprised that they're having issues or the relationship is strained? No, because that's her grandpa or her step grandpa, which makes it a little bit better if it's your step versus your actual grandpa, but it's still very twisted, right? And then on top of that, you have the age difference. Well, because he is your grandpa, so I'm assuming there would have been an age difference, right? But even if they weren't related, having that 20 plus age gap, I don't think that it would help the situation, because like Mary is still young and youthful, and I think that maybe, I don't know, I don't understand the motivation behind marrying her grandfather besides money, right? And now that she has all that money and now she has a little bit of fame and notoriety, I feel like she doesn't think it's worth it anymore, especially with their son being almost an adult now, maybe moving out soon. It's kind of like, well, why are we together? I have the money. We had our child. We did this whole marriage thing. What's left? You don't really love me like that, and I'm not really feeling you like that. So why are we here and what are we doing? So I wouldn't be surprised if they divorce in the future, because they don't seem like they like each other. Even in that scene when he's cooking, I mean, she is kind of annoying, to be honest. So, I mean, she's fun to watch, right? But yeah, she can be annoying, but they can't stand each other. They can't. And I like that they're honest. I said this already, but I'll say it again. I like that she's honest about it, because she could have easily went on this show like they all do, like Erica Jane, for example. She could have went on the show and pretended, yeah, there's a 30-year age gap, but we're totally in love and it's totally normal and nothing's off and nothing's strange and he's so amazing, right? She could have played that card, but she's honest, like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I hope that if Mary's not happy in a relationship, that she moves on. Is that terrible? Because you don't want to wish the end of someone's marriage, but clearly there's something not quite healthy there, and life is short. I mean, you're not getting any younger, and while you have the chance to experience a healthy love and romance, I think she should go for it at this point. And he should go and live his life at this point as well. I mean, he's a bit overweight, but for the most part, he seems like he's, walking around. He's still alive, so, he could find someone right for him too. I don't know. It will be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. What else happened? Okay. Why? I'm about to call this lady okay, what's her name? Okay, her name is like Jenny, because I know there's Jen and there's Jenny. Jenny. Her husband, oh my gosh. He wants to have more kids, right? She doesn't want to have more kids. His reasoning for having more kids is like, the world needs more good people because the world is a mess. So we need to make more people to populate the earth with better people. And I'm thinking like, really? Really? You are saying this? The way you're treating your wife? Do we really need more people like you who lacks empathy? The fact that you would bring up Sorry, let me get my thoughts together. I'm all over the place. I talked about it like a couple of weeks ago. For her to go through as many miscarriages, right? For her to almost carry a baby full term, technically give birth to the baby, and for the baby not to make it, I can't even imagine how difficult that was for her emotionally, spiritually, physically. That is a lot. And it's not like you don't have any children at all. You have 3 children. And I know for some people that may not be a lot, but that's enough. You have 3 children. And I'm pretty sure the reason why she kept putting herself through all this wasn't necessarily because she wanted children, even though I'm not saying that she isn't, happy for her children, or she doesn't love her children, or she doesn't want her children. But I wouldn't be surprised if a large part of her motivation for her to keep trying to have children despite all the miscarriages was because of her husband, right? Like, we're just seeing this one time where she's saying, no, I don't want any kids, right? And she's being stern on that. I wonder how many times we haven't seen where she's like, I don't think I want more kids. I don't think I could keep going through this. And him pressuring her, come on, no, we need to have more kids. We need to try one more time. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been pressuring her all this time. It's like, I understand you want more kids, right? But your partner doesn't want more. It's an awkward situation, right? Like, if he was like saying from the get-go, okay, let's have a surrogate. No. Okay, let's adopt children. No. I get it. He has the right to want to have more kids. Some people want that. But at the same time, you have to be empathetic to your partner, considering everything they went through. It's not like they didn't try. They tried several times and they don't want to. And then beyond conceiving the child, I don't want to assume because I do not know their family dynamic, but he seems kind of traditional, so I'm pretty sure that in their household, she's probably expected to do a lot of the child rearing and taking care of the children. And I don't know how much responsibility he takes in the situation, right? And I think especially when you go on these reality televisions, usually the women, they kind of want to do their own thing. They may want to start their own businesses. So they're moving away from the solely mommy role into other ventures. And I think that's where she is in her life. And she doesn't want to kind of be, I don't want to say stuck because that's not the right word, but essentially she would be responsible for doing most of the child rearing, and she's not in that space anymore. She's looking forward to her children growing up and becoming more autonomous so she can have her own life. I don't know, maybe if the household was a little bit more balanced, she wouldn't be so against, say, adopting or a surrogate, but she knows her family life better than we do. And if she doesn't want to have more kids, she doesn't want to have more kids. I don't know what the solution is for their marriage. Now, his solution is a sister wife. And I know, yes, there's cultural differences in other cultures. I'm Canadian, or I grew up in Canada, Caribbean background. Parents are from the Caribbean. It's not a common thing in the Caribbean to have multiple wives knowingly. Canada is not a thing either. So for me, it's kind of weird. I didn't grow up with that. But okay, I can understand if you did grow up with that. It just comes off very scandalous and heartless to bring that talking point up when she's talking about her many miscarriages, right? listen, your marriage is your marriage, and sometimes you need to have difficult conversations. But I don't think reality television is the place to have this conversation, especially when your wife is talking about miscarrying several times and not wanting any more kids. And then in this moment, you're like, well, let's just get another woman that will have kids. Like, she'll have my babies, and let's just do that, right? And I liked when she said, like, you're not thinking about the family. You're not thinking about bettering the world. You're thinking about yourself and what you want. And if I don't want it, you're just going to go outside our marriage and find someone else that's going to give you what you want. That's very selfish. Do we need more people like that in the world? I think we have enough selfish people in the world. You know, I may be one of them. We don't need more of that. I'm not saying you can't do it, but we don't need, like, Earth doesn't need that. I'm just saying, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we need that. You know, like, and even if, okay, you come from a culture where this is a thing, right? Before you would get married to somebody, I would think these would be things that you would talk about. Like, are you okay if I had multiple wives? No, I'm not. Okay, cool. I'm okay with that. Let's get married, blah, blah, blah. These would be those conversations. So you married this person knowing that they're not comfortable with that. So why are you bringing it up now just because you want something and they're not going to give it to you? So now you're going to throw that in their face. I don't know. It doesn't come off as genuine to me. It comes off as manipulative, right? You're trying to scare her into doing what you want to do. And she was upset, and she stormed off. And instead of him kind of going to her, being like, Jenny, I'm sorry, da 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 da, I understand I was being insensitive, right? He's just standing there like, Jenny, come back here. Where are you going? Jenny, come back. Why would she come back to you after you just did that? You, like, essentially embarrassed her on national television. You don't... I don't know. Not my marriage, not my business. I hope that they can work this out, because the kids are adorable, right? And on the surface, they seem to be a beautiful family. So hopefully they figure it out. I guess I'm not married, but stuff like this is showing me that before you make that commitment to somebody, it's very important to have these conversations. Even though, yeah, you can't predict the future, and yeah, people can change their mind, but at least if you have these conversations, you know, no one can say that they didn't know, right? Like, if I said I'm not comfortable with a polyamorous relationship going into it, then you know that I'm not okay with that. So don't bring that up later on. If I say, well, I may be open to that in the future, then okay, that may be a conversation. If we try to have kids, how important is having kids to you? Are you okay with surrogates? Are you okay with adopting? How many children do you want? You say you want 5. Are you okay with 1? If you're not okay with 1, and you want 5, and I'm not okay with 5, maybe we don't need to be together. I don't know. Wow. Okay. Moving on. Did anything else really happen this episode? Nah. That's it. I'm sorry. My head is all over the place. I don't know if I made any sense at all. And if I didn't, please forgive me. And yeah, we'll see you guys. Bye. Oh yeah, wait. Jen and that snowflake necklace, that was a cute idea, right? That was a cute idea, because you know that they hold snowflakes for the intro, right? So that's cute. Anyway, bye guys. Wait. Speaking of Jen, how can I forget this scene? It was so awkward with her son, and her husband. And Jen is volunteering at the school, I wonder in what capacity, like she's going to be in the halls doing what? Why would you want Jen Shah in your school? I just don't think that's a great idea. And the son didn't seem too enthusiastic about having his mom at the school, right? And she was like, aren't you excited for me to be there? And he was like, you know, he had a very pained look in his eyes, in his face. I don't know if the sun was in his eyes or something, but he looked very much in pain. And she was like, well, how come you're not excited? How come you're not saying you want me there? And he was like, well, I don't want to lie. And I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I can kind of get the vibe, when someone is very reactive, which we know Jen Shah is, and they're very emotional and they carry on, it gets to a point, especially when they're your parent. It's one thing if they're your friend, right? But when someone is your parent and they're very volatile, you can start to become it's very uncomfortable to be honest with them, right? It's very uncomfortable to express yourself because you're thinking, oh my gosh, if I say the wrong thing, then my parent is going to lose it. If I tell my mom that, I don't really want you volunteering in my school, it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest, especially you're on national television. Why the hell are you volunteering in my school? That's like, is that weird to anybody else? It's one thing if you're, say, a chaperone for a school dance or something, maybe a one-off thing, but like it sounds like a reoccurring thing that she's going to be there. And maybe I need to know what it is about for me to really make judgments on it, but it's kind of weird. And that's understandable for any kid to feel slightly embarrassed that their parents are at their school. But he can't say that to her, especially not on television. I don't get that vibe that he can be honest and say, yeah, I don't want you to do that. Because if he says that, she may start to break down. She may start crying. She may start screaming. And he doesn't want that. So what choice does he have to just be quiet? Like, he can't really do anything in that situation. And she can't even read that. She can't even understand that, yeah, it makes sense that a child would be uncomfortable with this, right? Instead of using her intuition or just reading her son's face and expression and empathizing with him, that he has his own wants and needs and whatever, she's looking at him to validate her, saying, oh, how come you're not how come you're not excited? How come you're not saying you want me to be there? Because he doesn't. That's why he's not doing it, right? And instead of acknowledging that you want him to perform for you, you want him to give you the answer that you want. And, Coach Shah, he's trying his best, where it's like he's trying to play the middle guy between the both of them. He's not being honest with Jen, I feel, but he's trying to delicately sort of give her boundaries. We're like, yeah, maybe you can have lunch with him sometimes. And it's like, why would he want to have lunch with his mom when he comes home and sees his mom every day, essentially? Why? He's at school, he wants to hang out with his friends. Why would he want to have... Listen, none of my business, not my family, whatever. That's just weird to me. It's weird, but I'm not going to make judgment because I don't know the full story, but just seeing that kid's expression, he's not here for it. He's not. Anyways, guys, that's everything. I'm pretty sure this time. See ya.